I'm like a kid at Christmas. I can't believe these two machines are rolling down my driveway right now. Hey, it's Brock here from Rock Hill Farms, and as you can see, we've just taken delivery of 2 more tractors. I'm getting all these tractors brought here because I want to do real reviews that actually tell how capable these machines are and also include the specs and the price. But whenever I just stand at a dealership or with a salesman and talk about the information that's available online, I don't feel like I'm adding that much value to you. So these 2 tractors here are going to make great comparisons for the other 2 tractors you see and some of the other tractors I've already talked about. So this Bobcat is a very similar price to my John Deere, and similar size, similar horsepower. These 2 machines are a very good comp, and I'm going to do head-to-head task with these 2 machines and talk about how I like the ergonomics and the capacities and everything else. Now, it's a little bit jaded because my machine's been modified and this one's stock, but we'll do the best we can with it. Then I've got the bigger Bobcat, which is a perfect comparison for all the 55 horse compact tractors that I've been looking at. It's parked next to the 55 horse New Holland tractor. And I gotta be honest, I feel like I've been like a monkey with a football as I talk about that tractor here on the channel, because I don't have any seat time on a big tractor like that with a shuttle shift. And it's been so rainy and muddy, I feel like I haven't done a fair job of really showing what that tractor is good at and what it's not. I think I'll be able to do a lot better job with these smaller tractors. Before we walk around them and show you a little bit about these, I was kind of thinking about asking you guys what kind of comparisons I should do with these. With the New Holland, I did a lift capacity test, and I kept those same logs that I used for that test, and all of these other tractors are going to try to pick up those same logs and see how high they can lift them, how stable do they feel, do they actually lift what they say they will. I'm also going to take all of these other machines and try to dig in the same dirt pile. Then I have attachments that fit this. All of my John Deere attachments will fit this. So we can spread stone on the driveway, we can run the brush cutter, we can run the tiller, we can do all that type of work. I also want to have a full conversation about how big of a tractor is too big of a tractor for someone who isn't a real farmer. I'm planning to bale my own hay this year, but my hay equipment can be run by a small tractor. And I'm not a farmer, so I really want to get into whether this size 55 horse compact tractor or the bigger 55 horsepower utility tractor is a better option. I also want to take a second to thank Jensen Tractor in Bartlesville, Oklahoma for sending me the New Holland. They're doing that at their own cost and their own liability to try to provide value to the viewers. So I want to make sure we give them full credit for it. And Bobcat of Oklahoma City, which actually has a bunch of locations, has done the same thing, sending me these tractors, and they're offering a rebate on anyone who comes into one of their dealerships and tells them that they saw these tractors on my channel. So I'll put all that information in the description where you can find both of these dealers and maybe even save a little bit of money on a Bobcat. So let's walk around and show you the tractors we've got today. I'm not trying to do full reviews on these tractors until I've spent more time on them. And right now all I've done is drive them down here. But this is obviously skid steer quick attach, removable loader, model number, CT 2035. It's got a little bit bigger tires than my tractor. This is probably more comparable to a 3038R instead of a 2038R, but it's so darn close between those machines that I think it's a fair comparison. This has a suspension seat where mine doesn't. All the controls seem to be laid out in a good location. I don't yet understand why with the two pedals there, why the brake pedal's on this side instead of this side, and why we have what seems to be a clutch. I was using it like a clutch, but I've got to do my research before I can even talk about that. I've ran one other hydrostat tractor that had a clutch, and that may just be to do with the PTO, or it may be to make it more smooth to shift between your ranges. They have the screw-in PTO cover here. It's not extendable draft arms, and it's not telescoping stabilizers. So those are not what I like to see as far as the 3-point setup, but also we have to factor in whether this is an economy model or a premium model. Like I said, I'll do all my research before I really speak on some of this stuff. We've got the rear fuel fill location up high. Again, you can see the difference in tire height. If we come straight across here, I always mention that my tractor has too small on the tires. This really is basically a 3R tractor with small tires. Same thing on the front tires, much bigger tires. They did not send this with the third function. And they did not send it with rear remotes. My tractor's all dirty and nasty. You guys know everything there is to know about that. I guess I better wash it since I'm getting ready to sell it. Now here we have our bigger tractor. This is Bobcat CT 5558. I believe it's a 55 horsepower, but the truth is, I don't even know that. This also doesn't have a third function on it, so we'll be testing it without a grapple. As I've mentioned a lot of times, those are always available. You can get that put on any tractor. It's just whether or not it's included in the price that I show you at the end. Got our lower fuel fill location. Most of the tractors in this size range, except for Kubota and John Deere, most of them have their fuel fill right there. The cab in it feels big enough. Of course, it's got heat and air. There's a big cabin air filter. It's got a sun visor. Spot for a radio, but no radio on this model. Now this hydrostat has the setup I look for. So this is your split brakes on this side, your forward and reverse pedals over there. So I've got to find out why the other one isn't that way. And we've got one rear remote, it looks like, on this tractor. A lot of controls up there for me to figure out, but we're not going into all that today. We do have our one set of rear remote hydraulics here. This one does have telescoping stabilizers and extendable draft arms. We have on the Bobcat, we've got our lever here to raise and lower the 3-point from off the tractor, and we've got these blanks. Those seem like they would be to wire in a setup to move the tractor like the John Deere has, but I don't know if they offer that feature or not. Now let's look at the size difference between these two machines. I believe that the rated lift capacity on these two machines will be about the same. And I'll go over all of that, but not right now. So this is our tire height. You've got an extra foot of rear tire. And the front tire is another foot. Now these are probably standard size tires for this tractor. 13.6 by 24. So I think these actually are a little bit smaller. They look so different because the other tractors I've looked at all had R4s, and that's an ag tire. And then we've got the New Holland Workmaster 55. This has been a very cool experience getting to run it. I currently have the skid steer bucket on it, which I'll do probably the same thing with the Bobcat, because I just don't want to scratch up their bucket if they're going to sell this as a new tractor and I've put 2 or 3 hours on it. I don't know how that works from the dealer perspective, but I'm trying to be respectful, and I'm getting ready to go up and wash this tractor up and take it back to them. All right, so I'm going to ask you guys one more time what content you want to see about these machines. I want to do the very best job I can to give as much information to someone who's thinking about buying one of these as I possibly can. These two machines are so close to each other, I think it's a perfect comparison. So some content I know I'm going to do is head-to-head these two tractors against each other and try to perform multiple different tasks. If you have suggestions for how I make a real comparison, we'll do it. In that video, we'll put them to work, then we'll talk specs, features, price, brand, dealer network, everything I can think of, and try to do a comprehensive test. Then we're going to look at the 55 horse tractors, and we're going to compare those two tractors against each other. Not so much between the brands, but which makes more sense for a guy like me? The bigger utility tractor or the smaller compact tractor, when they have similar specs, similar horsepower, similar price? Do you want the bigger machine with the wider turning radius, but maybe better stability and better ground engagement power? Hydrostat versus gear drive. And I'm definitely making that video. And then there'll be a standalone review video on this 55 horsepower. We're going to take all of these machines and the mini skid and dig into the same pile. And I'm going to try to do the best job I can. You guys know what attachments I have. Tell me what else you'd like to see. Mainly, I just feel honored and blessed that in the last month leading up to me having a new tractor that is home here on Rock Hill Farm, I get all this opportunity to demonstrate these other awesome machines. What a blessing. I appreciate the dealerships, and we're not done either. There is more equipment coming here. Before I announce my new tractor, there's more equipment coming here for demonstration. But I appreciate you guys taking time to watch this video. I'll put links on the screen to a couple more of our videos, and I'll see you next time.